I've kicked this giant box truck across Fort Zancudo, which is only the first of 7 extremely life-changing questions and experiments I have lined up in this video. The task is simple. I have to find this kind of truck, bring it to Fort Zancudo, and convince it to move with Hulk-like kicks, tracking the progress with the asphalt. Literal ages later, my fingers were sore, and I wanted to check the progress of the past hours by looking at the whole runway, including the truck. In an attempt to do so, said truck had other plans that disappeared. Completely annihilating my progress and reinforcing the dull feeling that I had just wasted my entire day for nothing. Awesome. To freshen up the mood, I decided to face the next challenge. Can I throw an NPC off the Maze Bank Tower, the tallest skyscraper in the game? To increase the difficulty of this experiment even further, I decided that A, the NPC still had to be alive on the Maze Bank Tower for at least some time, and B, couldn't be an NPC from a mission. Since I couldn't simply drive up the Maze Bank Tower, my first idea was to use a cargo bob to airlift a car from the streets with the NPC still inside. Unfortunately, I didn't own a cargo bob, and even after purchasing the cheaper DH7 Iron Mule, the plan failed due to NPCs immediately exiting their car as soon as I had them hooked up. In order to avoid this, I tried picking up a truck by its trailer, only for the trailer to disconnect. However, not all hope was lost, because minutes later, this happened.
Enemy spotted.
As it turns out, civilians will only leave their vehicle if the hook is attached and the vehicle is still on the ground. But if you ascend quickly enough after attaching the hook, the NPC won't exit the car, and you are free to do whatever you want. Upon arrival, the NPC left the car panicking and looking as confused as a raccoon trying to eat cotton candy. From that point forward, she was no longer frightened by gunshots and could only be moved by the knockback of my up and atomizer, sending her flying into the abyss. The next experiment didn't involve any violence for once.
Really?
But instead explored one of the most frequently asked questions in the GTA community. Where do cars actually drive to? And to answer this question, my plan was simple. Find a so-called tipper, a car stable enough to stand on safely, and remain semi-AFK for an hour. So that's exactly what I did. In search of more diverse surroundings, I first tried shooting the road to scare the driver, and eventually shot at the truck I had sneaked onto with my up and atomizer, desperately trying to escape, bucking your way. Defeated by the game mechanics, I jumped off and gave my host one last blowing kiss, or maybe a bit more than one last blowing kiss. Moving on to challenge number 4, where I spent 8 hours of my life answering a question the GTA community has left unsolved for 13 years. Exactly how many islands are in GTA Online? In a moment, I'm going to show you every single island for just one frame each, but first, I want you to guess. Which of these 4 options is the correct one? 494, 490, 479, or 3? If we only consider continental islands, we're left with just 3, Cayo Perico, the Mount Josiah Fort Zancudo region, and the rest of the main map. But if we count every single individual landmass in the game,
Why? Well, that's because you're an idiot.
The total count skyrockets to 494. However, if you follow certain geographical definitions that exclude river islands, that number drops to 479. And finally, if we ignore all artificial, man-made islands, we're left with exactly 490 islands. To get this number, I personally counted every single island on the map that met two specific criteria. First, they had to be represented on the map, and second, when visiting them, the island had to be visibly above the waterline. And before I keep you in suspense for too long, let me finally show you every single island in Grand Theft Auto Online.
Five minutes later.
Challenge number 5 aimed to answer a question I asked myself. Ever since I first started playing GTA Online, how much does rain actually affect your grip? To find out, I picked 3 very different contenders: the Bravado Banshee GTS, the fastest car in the game, the Ocelot Virtue, the easiest to obtain supercar, and the Phantom Wedge, mostly because this thing is massively underrated and I wanted to give it some attention. Each of these vehicles will be tearing across Fort Zancudo, both in the dry and the rain, to compare their acceleration and braking, topped off with a final maneuverability test to see how they handle under pressure. Finding the answer to this next question sent me on a road trip across the entire state of San Andreas. You're probably wondering, what could possibly be that important? Well, have you ever stopped to count exactly how many places you can actually customize a standard car? You probably haven't, but don't worry, I did the legwork for you. I started by scouting the map for every obvious location, before diving deeper and visiting all potential businesses, leading to following results. We have 5 Los Santos Customs locations, including Beaker's Garage, which is just an LSC in disguise, the LS Car Meet, Benny's Original Motorworks, the Auto Shop, and the Arena Workshop. Plus, if you've got the cash, you can even add a personal mod shop to your office garage and the agency. For the sake of accuracy, certain businesses like the Facility and Biker Clubhouse have been left out, because these shops are limited to specific classes, weaponized vehicles, and bikes, so they don't qualify as universal mod shops. Last but not least, I wanted to see what Elon Musk's net worth actually looks like in the world of Los Santos, and how long it would take a mere mortal to catch him. Now, before you think, is this guy really just going to do math? Yes, but trust me, these numbers are terrifying. Elon is currently sitting on about 840 billion USD. If you ran an optimal grind, making a steady 1.5 million GTA dollars an hour, you would need to play for 560,000 hours. That is 64 years of straight grinding, with no sleep, no food, no bathroom breaks. To finish that grind today, you would have had to start playing in 1962, 7 years before the moon landing. But it gets crazier. If Elon liquidated everything to buy Megalodon shark cards, he wouldn't just be a trillionaire. He'd have 112 billion GTA dollars. To put that in perspective, that is more money than every single GTA player in history has earned, combined. And speaking of things that add up, Do you know what you should combine? Pressing the like and subscribe buttons to support the video if you enjoyed it, because making this video was extremely time consuming. And while you're at it, let me know which challenge you found the most entertaining. My personal favorite was counting all the islands, because even though I had to suffer for 8 hours, it was definitely worth it in the end. With that being said, I'll hopefully see you soon, and I wish you an awesome day.